Szewczaks. It's me, Maja Szewczak, and welcome to Dollhouse Challenges. Today's challenge is Giant's Causeway items in the dollhouse. So the challenge will include these things. I'm using Astrid Fizz for the size and scale reference, and we're going to use this cupcake plastic as a base for the dollhouse. The plastic is from Causeway Hotel Restaurant, which I also managed to save from eating a cupcake. This piece of plastic, we'll be using it. It will be a tiny house for Astrid Fizz, but what about the way to get in and out from it? We'll be using scissors to cut a door into it. We'll be cutting a door, but be careful because some scissors tend to be sharp. So I use these smaller scissors for the door. That could work actually, but it looks more like a window. And what's great about those boxes is that it is travel friendly. But anyways, we're going to look into one of my seashell boxes that I've been picking seashells at Giant's Causeway for this video, so some of them have holes in them, so we'll be using some of these seashells to decorate the door with, or add a handle. Let's see if there's anything with a hole in it. I think let's use that. Stitched on, and once that is stitched on, we'll be using thread to make some colorful details. So once I have stitched the seashell on, we'll be using some white fabric to make the roof of the Giant's Causeway Challenge dollhouse. So I'm going to cut the fabric because that's the only thing I decided that's allowed in this challenge, and markers are also allowed, and thread, so that's the only things not from it allowed in here. So let's stitch that on, and we'll be using the purple thread to embroider designs. If seashells already have holes in them, you can use them like their beads and stitch them on. I also bought these beautiful Dollhouse Giant's Causeway pillows. They were quite expensive, 18 pounds, and these have stickers with the price on them, but after you bought it, the barcode can be you can just stick it onto the plastic and use markers to turn that into wall art, because that could work. Get markers and let's do some art with that. So we're going to draw something that looks like Giant's Causeway. I knew I had to do that for a YouTube video, knowing that I live in Northern Ireland and it's one of the very big tourist attractions in Northern Ireland. So I was visiting with my aunt, and her husband or someone like this, and I just had to use that opportunity for the Giant's Causeway to show them the Giant's Causeway, as well as buying some souvenirs that are from there, and turn some of these items into Dollhouse items. So let's draw some grass. I'm kind of doing the Giant's Causeway from memory on this, but if you have photos of it, then you can use that for it. So that's what, and this. Ta-da! Price tags turned into wall art. You could do the Giant's Causeway as Dollhouse art, or you could use another one of these and completely make something up. I'm going to put it here. Or there's another idea. You can try to make it into a bookshelf, the barcode for these. After you bought these. That's right, we're turning it into a bookshelf for dolls. And I've turned this into a bookshelf. From outside it looks more like a window, but I'm going to make a purple heart window with a marker. So that's what we're doing today as part of the challenge, to turn this plastic into Giant's Causeway challenge video to create a dollhouse out of it. That's how the window is looking like. And I'm going to also add some other shades of purple to it, just to To add more interesting details, deep violet, a little bit of that, and rose pink, some of that, to create like a warmer tone of purple. Just like that. We'll also be using the pillows I bought, the Dollhouse pillows. So first I'm going to cut off the string like this, because this will work better, although this is really expensive if you buy more and more of these. So we're going to be using that to create a couch, a giant's Causeway couch or armchair, depends on doll scale. For Astrid Fizz, this is more like an armchair, but we'll work with it. So let's give it a bit of an incline. I stitched it into this position. I did the hand sewing. Now it's perfect for Astrid Fizz to sit on, and plus it has a little bit of an incline. Now Astrid Fizz needs steps to get from that floor to this one. So we're going to be using pieces of cardboard that came with the pillows for that. And we're going to arrange them like this. We're going to stitch it together. Let's remove that for now. And now we're going to stitch these onto the hive to create steps. In the doll house, a small doll house. This could work as a travel doll house or a tree house, depending on how you want to use it. So let's stitch it on. Like this. The seashells will come later, but now we're just adding the cardboard onto it for the steps to get up and down. And pull it out like this, stitch it on. And now use this piece of cardboard for the second step to get to the floor, to the second floor of this dollhouse. Just like this. Done. Now we're going to turn these designs into something that fits the theme more. we're going to just draw some purple heart snails over the design that says Irish linen. Anywhere in that area of the cardboard where it says Irish linen, we're going to color over that. Yes, these pillars are from Irish linen, so that's why they included the information on these when you're at the Giant's Causeway souvenir shop, because I wanted to see the souvenir shop and use that as an opportunity for a YouTube video. But just to warn you, it can get expensive quickly if you actually try doing this. But anyways, let's now use some black Sharpie to turn this into wood, to make wood out of it, like this, out of cardboard, and give it a wooden look. And ta-da! Steps for Astrid Fizz. Now let's use white fabric to fill up the space. I'm going to turn this into a snail design, a sea snail design. I did think of making it a turtle, but I don't think there's turtles in Northern Ireland, so I thought sea snail would be more appropriate for the Northern Ireland aesthetic, so because you can find sea snails in Northern Ireland but not turtles. So let's do snail. With these fabric balls, we're going to stitch them on and color them. But before I stitch them on, I will color them purple, just to make sure there isn't too much white. Snail body done. I have done a bit of pink details with thread. However, it's going to get even more details. That's right. We're going to just use more of it, and if you remember this armchair from the video, I've cut off the cord. That's right, we're going to use for the antennae the cord that I have cut off, the grayish blue one with the Giant's Causeway on it that I've turned into an armchair by adding an incline. But now we're going to stitch on the antenna using that. And I'll be making a flower detail to it. as I'm adding it into it. That is stitched on. Make sure it's centered and then close the flower sewing that I've done. Maybe tighter than that to make a knot. And snip it off. Stitch it onto here to turn this dollhouse into a snail dollhouse. Snail body stitched onto the shell dollhouse. There's the dark blue armchair. We need the steps to go up to the next floor. Let's make a bedroom with a door to the kitchen. That's right, we're going to stitch that on in a way that this light gray pillow turns into a door for the kitchen. I was thinking of making this a bed, but it's like so beautiful. I want it visible at all times, this detailing. So we're just going to make a door out of it. We're going to stitch it on, and considering these pillow things for dolls and keychains made out of linen and these detailing are 18 pounds. I spent double that on these because I bought 2. I told you it gets expensive if you buy it in multiple quantities. But still, it's fun for me to make a YouTube video with these and the dollhouse for YouTube video. So from the outside, we're going to get some purple thread, and I'll just stitch that on lightly to just turn that light gray pillow into a door that leads to the kitchen unit. So let's stitch it on. If I get another chance to visit someplace in Northern Ireland with souvenirs and other things, then I could make another one of similar challenges to use it all up for a dollhouse. Just like in this one, I'm trying to use it all up for this dollhouse as a challenge video. So let's get this stitched on. I'm trying to make a hole in this seashell so I could stitch it on like a bead. It's not a bead, but it could if it has holes in it. Just anything that has sewing holes in it will work. Anyways, so there's that. Let's try a different one because that one was not getting holes in it. and I needed to stitch it on. Come on, get in the needle. I just don't want to break the needle. And I don't even have glue with me. So there's that. Stitched on, it opens like this and closes like this. And the shell now has more seashells and more flowers on it. So inside here I'm going to draw a kitchen and stitch on some white fabric and turn it into kitchen countertops. With the leftover cord I made 2 knots, and we're going to use this blue thread to stitch the cord on to create a curtain kitchen countertop that can move around. Or not move around, but you could lift it up. And that's what I'm decorating this in. But first we have to stitch it on. And there would also be some blue thread detailing going into that gold. Anyways, so that's what I want to do. Stitch it on and stitch it on. I think I want to fold this fabric down to hem it. Like this, that can work in the dollhouse, and it would give an interesting detail to look at. And keep going until you reach the end. Curtains stitched on, and there's some food, some plates, there's like a fridge and freezer area. Then I will draw just some fake sink into it to create the illusion that there's a sink somewhere, an illusion for the scale. Like Astrid Fizz will have to sit in that kitchen because of her size. And also I find this glass stone at Giant's Causeway somehow, so I'm going to turn that into a stove. And these things will light up, the ones that I'm not going to make black. Everything will be black, a part of the base. The stove lights, but the buttons will be purple. So that's what I'm doing. So it will be like a mini stove where Astrid Fizz can cook food. In this glamping dollhouse. So now we need purple, like electric purple for the buttons. Just like that. And here is the stove, the pocket stove. That sounds kind of dangerous, but practical. Maybe I could put it in here and it would look safer this way. So that's what I'm doing. And finally, let's make a bedroom for Astrid Fizz. So let's make a bed using white fabric. I added a bed because I had to fill it with seashells. It looks a little bit like a seashell. And for Astrid Fizz, it's a little bit small, but it would work good for even smaller dolls. And the stove looks a bit like a black cat right now. So, Astrid Fizz, you're going to need another blanket if you want to sleep in here. Okay, Maja Szewczak. I'll get it. But it does look cozy there for Astrid Fizz. But if we want her to go in the kitchen, you'll just have to remove that bed. And there's her kitchen. So those are smart ways of not only using things you got at Giant's Causeway, but a good travel dollhouse for children to play with. If you can make some like these. And plus it's a good way to recycle your plastic that you get at random restaurants and cafes. Trust me, I just came up with that. And everything looks beautiful. Especially those Giant's Causeway pillows, and when I'm not using the dollhouse, I can just always close it up like this. There, it now looks like a snail. A glamping snail. However, this can open up to create a window. So many smart ways to create a travel dollhouse with this I've learned today. And That's what I've made using my things I got at Giant's Causeway. I still have those. I'm just going to make decorative bows with these. Bow added, and that is our challenge done. So, Chef Jax, what do you think of this Giant's Causeway? Item Dollhouse Challenge. From the things that I've gathered there, both Giant's Causeway and Causeway Hotel Restaurant, I've managed to use up the things for this. Still have seashells left over, but I tried my best. Some were having it with the needle, some weren't, but that's fine. And I've used up all the cord and all the pillows I bought, all the dollhouse pillows. And it looks like a really cozy and amazing and beautiful space for Astrid Fizz to enjoy and relax, either on the bed or in the living room with all the books and lots of other things. The challenge was fun to do, and it also closes into a snail, which I really like, because now I'm really into animals for dolls, like animal-shaped houses. And I love how it looks, but please tell me what you think about it. Especially that I've paid like £18 to have the pillows. Well, £18 times 2, but anyways. Bye, Chef Jack. See you in another video. Bye.